Boom! Wine number 7 with
I'm
the
not
winemaker coming up very shortly.
a white wine. Stay with us. Woohoo! Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country, from Nova Scotia to Vancouver Island, welcome, Canadian wine lovers. Here is day 7 of our 12 days of Christmas, of our 12 wine for our Advent calendar. Here you go, number 7. We're already past halfway our Canadian journey, so it's really, really exciting to get to another wine. So tonight, a white wine. Tonight, a wine from Ontario. So 2 nights back to back from Ontario. Yesterday, we had, but first and foremost, Mira Boucher,
Carl
co-host,
Boucher.
running the show here. How is it?
Good.
How are you doing?
You know, it is a very bad time of year to get sick, and it's trying me so hard right now. So I think I need a little bit of this white wine that we're about to reveal.
I think so.
To relax.
I think so.
When you're relaxed, it's harder for the bugs to get you, That's my theory.
That's it. That's it. I like your attitude. I really like your
has
attitude.
guessed this one already, so he's just dying to see everyone else's reaction.
You know that one, but you never tasted that wine, though, because it's never been on the market until a couple of weeks ago. But yeah,
brand new wine from a brand new vineyard, I believe, right?
So I mean, there's a bunch of hints here. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt.
That's a giveaway.
That's a giveaway. So, Canadian wine lovers, so welcome. Let's get a quick recap. Night 7. Yesterday, we were in Prince Edward County, land of Pinot Noir. We had Mackenzie Brisebois, winemaker at Trail Estate. We had the 2021 Pinot Noir from Trail. The night before, we were on the Golden Mile hosting Mark Hopley from Hester Creek, a very unique GSM, Grenache Syrah Mourvèdre. The night before, we were in Lake Erie in North Shore from a 2020 Syrah, in the land of where Syrah and Big Reds grow very well. Nights number 3, we were in the East Kelowna Slope with David Patterson, winemaker at Tantalus Vineyard, on one of the oldest Riesling vines in the Okanagan. Night number 2, we were on the Beamsville Bench, right at the top of where our vineyard selection is for tonight's wine. Beamsville Bench from the Courtenay block of the Malivoire Gamay Vineyard. And we started all the way 7 nights ago when we hosted Jean-Benoit Deslauriers live from Nova Scotia in the Gaspereau Valley. Last Friday, almost like a week ago. It's crazy. Feels like we started that yesterday. We had the non-vintage Benjamin Bridge sparkling traditional method Chardonnay, Acadie Blanc, Pinot Noir. So that's where we are the last 6 nights. And tonight, our winery of the year, Ontario Winery of the Year, one of the greatest vineyard tour we've ever done, one of the greatest winemaker that Canada ever had. The guy made wine in France, in Oregon. The guy also run one of the most prestigious estate in Niagara on top of his own brand. The guy has put Niagara on the map. He has mapped Niagara one vineyard at a time. He's a legend. And today we're featuring one of his brand new wine, a brand new vineyard that he's working with. Mira, I think we need to start by unveiling. We need to unveil and unwrap wine
I'm sure
number
many people have
7.
already guessed this. So yeah. So, but if you haven't, and you have not tasted this winemaker before, you're in for a major revelation, a major treat.
I mean, yeah, if it's not the very best winemaker in the country, he's part of that. He's at the very, 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 very top. And I mean, yeah, this guy works with 27 different terroirs. So now we know that little yellow tag.
A lot of these bottles are very similar with
Yes.
colors.
We know that yellow means Chardonnay, the red means Pinot Noir, the blue means Gamay. That's the 3 grapes that he works with. Batchelder, Thomas Batchelder, and we have Mio Vineyard Chardonnay 2022. It says on the bottle Lincoln Lake Shore. It's coming from the very wide region of Lincoln Lake Shore. But what makes that Mio Vineyard very special, and you're going to hear from Thomas, I spent over an hour on a StreamYard recording this afternoon with him. He's at Clos Jordan right now. He's moving all of the barrels in and out and the tank, and before he leaves for Montreal. So we had an hour where we spent this afternoon, but he told us about the Mio Vineyard and why it's the first time that he's been working on a single vineyard with him and what makes that wine special. But I mean, 48 cases of that, only 48 cases. And it's the reason why I choose that wine first, because it was brand new. Second, because such a small production. And third, because I knew I really wanted to taste it because it was the newest wine from Thomas. So here I am tasting Mio Vineyard from Thomas Batchelder, wine number 7 of our Pan-Canadian Advent calendar, of our Pan-Canadian journey across the country. And also because the price point of that wine for under $50, it is pretty darn freaking impressive. This is a 93 plus point Carl's Wine Club. I love the nose.
We have had a lot of very high scoring wines in this selection. I was just
but that's another criteria that I put in, that it had to be 92 plus, 92 points or better. So, I mean, these wines are definitely all a very, 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 very high rated selection. And this wine is no difference. And yeah, 48.
I didn't know that about the 92 points or better. Is that really what they all are? They're all over 92 points? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I was just, because I just went to update. I'll have the tasting notes for the one last night up very shortly here. It was like 93 plus. I think there was 192, right?
92. The first 92 was the one that was very
the controversial 92.
That's the word that we're looking for, as the controversial wine of night number 1. Let's say I was rusty. Let's say I was rusty.
So you did 92 plus for that Benjamin Bridge.
That doesn't count.
And then you did 92 for the Courtney Gamay from Malivoire. And
that was
93 plus for Tantalus Riesling, 94 for Mouche Dre Syrah, and I think 93 for the GSM. And then how much was your trail? I have that here. Hang on. Trail Estate Pinot
92.
92. Okay. Yeah, very, very highly rated. Yeah.
And 93 plus with the Mio Chard. So good.
Very
so
nice.
good. So
Okay.
good.
So let me get this lined up, because here's the thing. Thomas Batchelder is not an easy guy to pin down for anything. So if you recall who Tracy and Jim are on, they were here. They were at the tour that Carl, turn around. Let's do the full, yeah, very good. Yeah, go over the chair. I like it. So we did a vineyard tour. We rented a bus. We went through vineyards. We went to places where it's not on the map. You couldn't find it if someone gave you an address. You need to know the GPS coordinates for the vineyard. And Thomas took us to 4 of his vineyard sites.
Yeah.
And we tasted some wine in the vineyard. It was epic. I mean, it was amazing. Jim and Tracy were there. Daryl and Sandy were there. Who else on today was there?
The average wine enthusiast was there. Mike LaPlante.
Yes.
And these guys also had the privilege to follow and to come to the Bat Cave also. So
Jeff is gonna, I mean, if she doesn't know what she missed, she won't be so disappointed, right?
Oh, that is too good.
So I mean, Thomas was amazing. That was such a legendary experience, but he's not the kind of guy that you can like he's out doing things like that, touring people through vineyards on the tractor. Like, you can't just easily get him for an interview.
Oh, this one is not either in Norway, in Denmark, in Japan, in England, or somewhere around the world pouring his wines. But yeah.
So this is recorded, but only 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago or something?
Yeah, it was 2:30 this afternoon. Mine tonight. So anyway, it was a crazy day because I had also to run around and go pick up some red blends on the Normandy Bank. I had, oh my God. Okay, Mira, put that in perspective. Wait a second. I had an hour with Thomas Batchelder, and I have to really put him in the box and say, okay, we need to talk about one thing, and it's Mio. Okay, that's why we're here. He was talking about everything, right? So I had that. And after that, guess who I had to meet with after Thomas Batchelder? With Sal D'Angelo.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So there was a 2-hour block where I had Thomas Batchelder on one side and Sal D'Angelo on the other one. So try to get something done. Thanks. Yeah, right. But yeah,
these are very special people.
But to be serious, these conversations are priceless. Like what we talked about with Thomas this afternoon. So Thomas was gracious enough to start from the beginning, because I told him there might be some new people that I've not listened to his story many times that most of us have already heard from. So he started this story from the beginning. So it's going to be cool. But yeah, he is at the cellar at Clos Jordan, moving a bunch of, I know he's at the Bat Cave. Not at Clos Jordan he was today. He was at the Bat Cave moving barrels around. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, let's do this. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what you guys spoke about and learn more about Mio New Vineyard. And the crazy connection is that we spoke with Dave at Tantalus a few days ago on this show.
Night number three.
And he was talking about how they are going to have a wine from the Mio Vineyard, but made in BC.
Yeah, that's the Pan-Canadian connection.
Yeah, crazy connection. All right, here we go, guys. Let's enjoy.
Here we are, day 7 of our Advent calendar. Now, this is a special day because today we're not focusing on one sub-appellation. We're going to focus on an entire region. So I'm joined here by the legendary Thomas Batchelder. Thomas, bonsoir, mon ami. Comment ça va?
Bonsoir. On the 7th day of Christmas, Carl's Wine Club brought to me
Mio and Chardonnay.
I thought I was going to surprise you, but I couldn't fool you. You were pretty quick.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely. So days after being to Nova Scotia, to nearby you on the Beamsville bench with Courtney, Malivoire Gamay, Tantalus Riesling, Syrah from Lake Erie North Shore with Moose Chadre. We went to Prince Edward County as well with Trail Estate with Mackenzie Brisebois making a fantastic Pinot. And now, we also did the Golden Mile bench in Oliver with the GSM and Esther Creek. Now tonight, we finally arrived to our Chardonnay night. And Thomas, you're here to join us and talk about Mio 2022. But before we talk, we focus on Niagara, on the Beamsville bench, on Mio. I would like to focus on Batchelder. I would like to focus on Thomas' journey from Montreal as a wine writer to Burgundy School to Oregon and finally back full circle to Niagara. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Montreal, but my family comes from l'Estrie, which is the eastern townships outside of Montreal, and we had two dairy farms in the family, and so this gave me a love of agriculture. But I was in fact born in the city, so that combination, Carl, was very cool because it made me love the country, but I love the sophistication of the wine scene in Montreal, and Montreal being one of North America's largest. The largest Francophone city, had a big look, at least in those days, back towards France and the beautiful wines of France. Still does, but of course,
Still
now
does.
all the wines of the world. Yeah, and so I just fell in love with Pinot Noir and eventually Chardonnay and Gamay. And so I went to wine school because I grew up speaking French and English. So I was going to go to school where the grape originated in Burgundy, in La Bourgogne, France, and not, say, for instance, in Napa, Davis, the School Davis, or the School Lincoln in New Zealand. These would be great places to go. But, if you have a love of Burgundy, that's where you have to go learn. So that's what I did. And when I got out of school in Burgundy, after working for a couple of places in Burgundy, I worked for Ponzi in Oregon because
In Oregon. So before, Thomas, what took you out of Burgundy? What's the idea of transitioning from Burgundy to Oregon? Was it just to come back closer from home, or just a different terroir to go to work with, or what was the thought process?
Well, the thing was, it was simpler than that. I thought when I got out of school, I thought if I work hard, I can stay and live in Burgundy, and Mary and I would be able to have maybe someday a domain with maybe 6 hectares, which is 15 acres, and maybe do an organic domain with, no filtration and all that stuff. And what happened is we met this person at wine school, Luisa Ponzi, who's one of the 5 originals of Oregon, along with Irie and Amity and, Bethel Heights and Sokol Blosser and Erath. And she said, I'm going back and I have to take over the winemaking. She was the 3rd kid and nobody wanted to become the winemaker. So Luisa says, you got to come help me. So me and another classmate whose name is Cyril Bongiro, who ended up starting a domain in Serbia. Check him out if you ever go, Cyril Bongiro. And
so among the three of you, one went to Oregon, the other one went to Serbia.
Yeah. But we all worked for her in Oregon in her first harvest, where her father said, okay, you're out of school now you go. And all these years later, what happened was Luisa actually sold Ponzi to Boulanger, the champagne. I couldn't believe it. And she's still running it. But yeah, so I think we might see Louisa a project someday, Louisa Ponzi, but I don't know. She says she threatens to do it. So it's very exciting. But I started off with her, classmates, mutual respect and love. And Mary came out. And from there, I went back to Montreal for a while, and I got a job at Chateau Genot Boulanger, which is in Meursault. It's one of those rare chateaux in Burgundy. Every town, every village has one chateau, as opposed to Bordeaux, where every maison familiale is a chateau. You know, in Burgundy, you call them domaines. And the only one that gets elevated to chateau is the manor house of each village. So one chateau, and I worked at Chateau Genot Boulanger, which was it still is in Meursault. And so I got back to my roots, and I thought I was going to stay forever again. And the Ponzis called me up and said, listen, there's a 60-hectare, 160-acre winemaking opportunity in Oregon. And this was Lemelson Vineyards, organic, and had to start it up from zero, figure out all the terroir. I was still rather a young lad, and we did it, myself and Mary and Eric Lemelson and Sean Camblin and a few people. And once all those terroirs were figured out after 4 years, Pascal Marchand called me up, who's another Quebecois like you and me and Mary, and he said, I want you to work in Canada and start something called Le Clos Jordan. And I said, after we were into it for a while, Jean-Charles Boisset, because Boisset helped the Canadians start it, Arterra, used to be called Vincor. And I said to Jean-Charles Boisset, who's one of the biggest winemakers in Burgundy, I said, I can't say Le Clos Jordan. He goes, why? I said, well, it's 2 French words and 1 English word. So he goes, well, be like you Quebecois, just call it Le Clos Jordan. And he said that with a French accent, trying to be Quebecois. And we were standing in the streets of Jordan, Ontario. And I said, Le Clos Jordan? He said, yes. So I called up the head of Arterra, which was then Vincor, as I said. I said, it's going to be Le Clos Jordan. Jean-Charles Boisset wants it that way. So since that one funny remark that made us laugh for 5 minutes, because Le Clos Jordan is always sort of said with a Quebecois accent. So there you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you know, I think after 8 years at the Clos, I wanted to start Bachelder or Batchelder. And so Mary and I started Batchelder. And at the same time, to pay the bills, we helped a bunch of Quebecois start their own winery, which, as you know, is called Domaine Quélus. So I did that for about 8 years. And then Kelly Mason came up through the ranks. Kelly Mason, you know, she's a great winemaker, and I know you know her. And she's a great person. She worked in California, she worked in Tuscany, she worked for Taz, and she worked for the Clos Jordan just after I left. So when she came to join me at Domaine Quélus, it was great. And since then, she's taken over, and she also does Mason Vineyard. She has her own vineyard. So this liberated me to go back to the Clos. So since 2017, the Clos is back. It has its own building, the former Angel's Gate. And Batchelder has just been growing and growing to the point where we're something like 7,000 to 8,000 cases of high-end wine. And we have 27 terroirs, I think, not counting the blends or the, you know, and we're distributed in 6 countries and counting. You know, when you make high-end wine, Carl, I know you know, it's not as easy to sell as $18 wine. So it needs to go to a lot of places if you want to disappear.
Absolutely.
Carl, if you love making wine, you want to make more of it. So to make more of it, you have to sell the stuff you made before. So that's what we do. It takes 2 years to come out, but that gives us 2 years to think about what we'd like to do going forward. And right now, we're mapping Niagara 1 vineyard at a time.
And I think that's exactly where it leads me, because what I wanted to do with you, I wanted to talk about how, because there's one thing that I believe that Niagara is much further ahead than British Columbia in their wine journey is the identifying the very special terroir that you guys have. And I know that you've been talking with David Patterson at Tantalus while they just had their East Kelowna Slope appellation. Finally, Summerland have their own appellation. We had the Golden Miles in the Naramata Bench for 10 years, but that was pretty much it. So you in Ontario, it's something that I really, really appreciate. It's the development of all of the sub-appellation, and you can very break it down by little portion and identify flavor profile and sensory aspect of the wine that are very typical from each and every region. And you were at the forefront of the whole movement to have the map breaking down. So how about we talk a little bit about, first and foremost, the two big entity, the flat land of Niagara-on-the-Lake, a little warmer, more propice to larger production, and also the little mountain that we have on the Niagara Escarpment, but which provide a completely different profile that what the Niagara-on-the-Lake will offer.
Yeah. Well, listen, I have a little map here because we knew we'd talk about this, and I would suggest.
Of course, there's a map. There's always a map.
But,
hey, Thomas, I have to say it's funny enough because we saw each other in Montreal a couple weeks ago. And before I see exactly where your booth was, or we met at the Ontario Wine, I saw a map hopping around with a yellow vest. And I'm like, and I told my brother who was with me, I say, here you go. This is Thomas Batchelor. He's like, who? How do I know him? I said, you don't know him, but you'll see a map walking around in this. And yes, that was you with the map walking around at La Grande Dégustation. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. And, I think BC is doing really well. I'm a great lover of BC. I know when I go on the road for Canadian wine, for Niagara wine, for Batchelor, for the Clos Jordan, when you're from Burgundy, you just say the name of your house and whether your great grandparents started it, or 5 generations ago, and then you jump right into your appellations. Whereas when you're on the road with Canada, people don't even know where BC is, and they think there's a couple of kilometers away from Niagara. We have to say to them, the distance from BC to Nova Scotia is like the difference from Southern Ireland, from Cork in Ireland to Baghdad. It's a long way. And sometimes we're on the road, and I'm right beside a BC booth, like Tantalus, for instance, and people say, well, I like your Chardonnay, but I like your neighbor's Chardonnay better. I go, no, that's my friend, but he's 4,000 kilometers away and about 2 meters right here in the room when we're pouring, And so you don't waste any time, but you use a lot of time when you're pouring Niagara wine, telling them where you are. And I think I can hold this up, and I will again for the viewers at home. And I know you have viewers across the country and in the States, but I want to say that you should look up your own map, because the magic of Niagara, the main thing is Niagara falls from a limestone bench, and it doesn't actually fall from that bench anymore because it cut a gorge backwards. And so there's a very, a deep gorge that goes back from where the escarpment is here, and the falls are actually further back with the gorge, and this Niagara River is very flat down here after the falls, and that's what you're talking about. Niagara Lake is quite flat. I've started calling it this week the beach. People say Niagara is flat. No, it kind of like has a nice incline towards the lake, but we're always talking about the bench. So I think from now on, I'm going to ask people, hey, are you from the bench or the beach? I think it's funny.
It sounds more respectful than the swamp. I know that little rivalry between the bench and Niagara-on-the-Lake, and the people from the bench will call it the swamp. And I think, I like the beach. I think it sounds a little better there.
Yeah, and it's a little better than the flats because it's never completely flat. but it is at only 80, 79, 80 meters above sea level, which is not that high when you think that all that water has to go right out past, Prince Edward Island and Terre-Neuve into the ocean. But Niagara Lake is a beach, and what they call peachland, like you have peachland in the Okanagan, but here the peachland is not a name of a town, but it is land that is used for growing peaches, very sandy and not very calcaire, meaning not very limestoney. However, the closer you get to the limestone bench, so if the bench runs like this, basically, the vineyards in Niagara and the lake, the flatter part, the beach, that are closer to the bench have more erosion wash down of nice limestone. And for instance, Baishu is one of them. And I know you're a particular lover of Baishu Chardonnay.
Absolutely. And we had the chance to do something pretty special at Baishu together this summer with our members, and when we visited Jackson Bai's property and do a little tasting there together.
Yeah, we sure did. And I think what I would love people to look at home, because no matter how many times you see this, it's better to see a map on your own computer or on your own phone to see how this escarpment comes into contact with Lake Ontario. And that's where the magic is. Lake Ontario goes on and the escarpment goes on. The escarpment is thousands of miles long, and it goes back down towards Chicago. It goes into the Finger Lakes, but not quite to the Finger Lakes. The real magic is where this escarpment comes into contact with Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario never freezes, and Lake Ontario never gets that hot in the summer. So our pick dates, our harvest dates, have never changed. We're protected in the winter from extreme colds that continental North America gets by this lake that is like a heat sink, and it keeps us warm. We get the odd minus 21 like BC has had, and we do lose vines. We lost vines in 22. We lose buds every few years, a few buds, the dormant buds in the winter. But basically, it's okay here. And in the summer, it gets pretty hot. We have a few 31-degree days, but it doesn't go crazy. It's mostly, 25 to 28 and humid. And so I've been here now 20 years, Carl, and we've never harvested before the 14th of September. So no Labor Day harvesting, no August harvesting. No, we're always between the 14th of September and let's say the 5th of October for harvest start for the Burgundian grapes, Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay. So this is very stable. Is there global warming? Well, of course there is. It's global chaos. So we get more ups and downs. Say les dents de scie, saw teeth. But it hasn't been too crazy. I think we're learning how to deal with this up and down. No two harvests are the same here,
And between the beach and the escarpment, so you have from one side the Lincoln Lakeshore appellation, and the other side St. David's Bench. I think these are the two extremity of the wine region. In between, you're working with 27 different up to 27 different terroir, I would say. So what's the biggest difference that you would see from east to west in terms of terroir?
Well, I want to say, even though this is a little bit, you can see as a little bit of glare, the main thing is we heightened the actual escarpment in a copper color. And Niagara-on-the-Lake, the bench is very far from, that river is the American border, USA on one side. And when you come into Niagara-on-the-Lake, the bench up here is very far from the lake. Whereas in Lincoln Lakeshore, the other 40 kilometers away, the lake is very close to the bench. So here you have both lake effect and calcaire or limestone from the bench. And in the center, the famous part of Vineland and Jordan, Vineland and Jordan, you have and Beamsville, you have Le Clos Jordan and Flat Rock and Featherstone.
That's what you call the Grand Cru of Niagara, right? The Grand Cru of the region.
Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. Maybe the Grand
Yes.
Cru of Cabernet Sauvignon is elsewhere.
Yes, 4 Mile Creek. I would say 4 Mile Creek on Niagara on the Lake because you have higher heat unit, and so you can ripen your Cabernet differently. Correct?
I agree. I agree. Yes, it is correct. And I think the bench has this nice commonality between being close to the lake, but just far enough to delay ripening. So we do get hang time. It's not this race like Oregon and California and Burgundy are in like, hey, how early can you cut the grapes to preserve ripeness? You know, now it's much more in Niagara. It's still the same. Can we hang long enough to get good complexity? Because we keep our acids here. It's no problem. The question is, let's get enough complexity by doing hang time. So really, one of the few places in the world where you can hang out until nearly October before you harvest. And this is also due to the slow start we get in the spring because the lake keeps us cooler than we would be. The temperature goes up less quickly in the summer here in Niagara.
How about we dig and we go to the Mio? So tell us a little bit about the story of the grower Mio, because that's basically your operatism, the way you operate, right? You build relationship with outstanding growers. You find a place that you would like to work with the grapes, and that's what happened here with the Mio. First time ever that you're producing this terroir on its own. Tell us a little bit more about Mio.
So the Mio family, a very passionate family who loves their wine, Italian origin, Italian Canadian, yeah, and they have a site right here. I'm going to show it to you. You won't be able to see it, but it's right here. And it's just east of Beamsville. So here in Niagara, you have west is Hamilton, north is across the lake is Toronto, and east is the États-Unis, the States. To the south of us is Lake Erie. So you can't go to the States by Lake Erie unless you're a good swimmer, you know? But Mio here is fascinating because Corey Mio, and Lena, they established their vineyard just below the bench. But so they have very limestoney soils, red magnesium oxide soils, and they're reasonably far from the lake. They're not on the bench, but nearly. And what we see here is some of the beautiful benchy feels of the sea spray aromas, the oyster shell. And on the other hand, we sense some of the richness of the lakeside. So it's like you were saying before, the lakeside soils in Niagara are more peach soils with more sand. And that's really what you get in the beach in Niagara Lake. But here, it's not the beach, even though it's close to the lake, because it has some limestone wash down from the bench, which is immediately south of the Mio vineyard. So the Mio family, they have their own business. They still found the time to establish this little vineyard, what's quite a big vineyard. And Corey especially has all kinds of experimentation going on with Chardonnay clones, with Gamay clones. We do both Gamay and Chardonnay from him, but they also have some crazy Marsanne and Roussanne and Viognier going on, a few crazy things in that vineyard. And they mapped out the whole vineyard and did soil pits before they planted. So we know they're going to have their own wine someday, and Sempre Mio. But we hope to keep our little corner of it because it was our first actual piece of terroir that was just below the bench, just below the Beamsville bench appellation. So you have to call it Lincoln Lakeshore. Now, to your point about appellations, Lincoln Lakeshore is so indescribably big as an appellation that we will need to break it down. I mean, I think Mio falls within the benchlands, but it's called Lincoln
That's
Lakeshore.
what I was about to ask. I think because of the proximity of the slope, it's almost more bench than he is Lincoln Lakeshore, right?
Yeah. And it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, Lincoln Lakeshore starts at the Jordan Harbor. So, you know, it starts right here on the Niagara on the Lake side. It's Creek Shores. Oh, it's Niagara on the Lake here. Here it's Creek Shores. And then as you get past the Jordan Harbor, the 20-mile creek, it all is Lincoln Lakeshore, way all the way out until you get to Hamilton. So as the closer you get to Hamilton, the more the bench, it doesn't have many levels. It's just one bench and a cliff face, and it's cooler out there. Whereas Corey Mio, the Mio family, is right in between, sort of, they're right very close to Taz's second winery called Redstone. It's
Okay, yeah.
Redstone. Yeah, the soil's very red down there. So you've got a lot of interesting growers there. And I think we'll see that the next generation of people like Corey's age, or even the next generation younger, if they don't have enough money to buy on the bench, we'll see a lot of cool projects coming out of the Lincoln Lakeshore. That's the Vineland side, but on the Jordan side of 20 Mile Creek, we'll see projects coming out of Creek Shores. So, and when you come back, Carl, I have a Gamay for you to taste from Creek Shores. Shh, it's a secret for now.
Oh, okay. We won't talk to anyone about that. But a funny connection, because on night number 3, we hosted David Patterson, winemaker at Tantalus Vineyard. And I was asking David, I know that you worked with a few, you had a project with Niagara because this year you didn't have any grape. And can you tell us a little bit more? And he mentioned, I got some grapes from the Mio vineyard. I'm like, this is really cool, because now on day number 7 on our Advent calendar, now we're featuring Mio with you. So really cool. We have some Mio grape who were processed in Niagara, and now they are sitting in the cellar on the Kelowna East Slope at Tantalus Vineyard. Really, really cool.
It is really cool. And, you know, it's good to be able to help each other out, you know, and I know Nova Scotia had a couple of tough years, and they were able to do a similar thing to be able to continue making bubbly. The best thing is to do your own terroir, but the second best thing is to keep making great wine and getting Canadian wine known out there while your vines regenerate, right? It happens to everybody at some point.
Hey, Mother Nature, she's undefeated. I mean, she's the one who decides. She's the boss, that's for sure. You have your boss, Thomas. I have my boss, but Mother Nature is the boss of everybody.
The big boss.
I know. Hey, what do you think of the shirt? Eh?
I love it. Wow,
how cool is that?
I love the way Mira is laughing but looking away, like, yeah, get me out of here.
Yeah. So, hey, here we are, Thomas. I mean, thank you so much for spending time with us and talking about Mio. Before I let you go, I want to talk briefly about 2024. Mother Nature is the boss. She decides. What did she give you in 24?
She gave us a crop of enough grapes with everything great. Now, whenever you hear me talking, I'm always talking about the Burgundian grapes, Chardonnay, Pinot, Gamay Noir. I wouldn't presume to talk about the Bordeaux grapes, although I have my ideas. But if you live it, this was a year where we harvested everything at just enough bricks with lots of complexity. We had a lot of rain this summer, so you thought, there's going to be some sort of load of disease on these, rot, but there never was. Yes, we had to use the sorting table sometimes. That's what it's for. But mostly, Carl, this was a record year. And by a record year, I mean beautiful quality with not too high bricks. There's not going to be any 14 degrees wines unless people pushed it. We're going to have some beautiful 12.5, but with intense flavor and good color, beautiful natural wines that are going to be very expressive. I think for Pinot Noir, that's this here, 24 Pinot Noir. It's maybe going to put Niagara on the map. 22 was a short crop, with intense varietal characteristics. 23 was beautiful, a little lighter, but a little more weight than 21. And there's lots of it. And 24, maybe a little less quantity, but it's definitely appellation defining stuff. I think we can look forward to 4 years of releases with 21, 22, 23, and 24 that will define Niagara for those who are interested in single vineyards and where things come from. And we wish, Carl, we always read the Advent calendar stories to our girls. We get these stories from France and Quebec called 24 jours à attendre Noël, 24 days to wait for Christmas. Every day was a story. And so every year is a story, and every terroir is a story. And I'm telling you, as Niagara starts to get out to the world, as Canada starts to get out to the world, you want to know you have a succession of cool vintage. We don't want a sudden jammy vintage. Jammy vintages are great because they're lovely and the wine's so rich and so satisfying. But the terroir vintages are the cooler ones, and it's the ones we live for here. And we've got 4 in a row. So this is a time where I think you would be safe to make the prediction that Niagara wines will be better known around the whole world. They will always be niche because there's not enough of them. So it has to be niche. But amongst those Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and Gamay lovers, remember, we have the most Gamay in the world planted here outside of Beaujolais, its hometown. So its origin. So here we're positioned, if we can focus and not do 40 grapes, if we can restrain ourselves to do about those 3 Burgundian grapes, plus, of course, Cabernet Franc and some great Riesling and a few more, if we can give the world an image, just like the way Alsace gives the world an image, New Zealand gives the world an image of what they do. Oregon tells the world, we do these 3 or 4 things. We have to tell people this is what we do well. After that, you can do whatever you want. But the message in export has to be, this is what you come to Niagara for. And we would like, as you know, we would like to change the paradigm a bit and not say, when you come to Niagara, you've got to go visit so-and-so, Big Head or Stratus or Two Sisters or Batchelder or the Clos Jordan or Malivois or Taz.
No, you want to go visit the Beamsville Bench, or you want to go visit the Lincoln, you want to go the Grimsby Hillside, you want to go to St. David's Bench, right? Like that's you do. Way. You go to Meursault, or you go to Maurice Saint-Denis, or...
Yeah. You want people to think, I love Chardonnay, I am going to Vineland Jordan, 20 Mile Bench there. Or I love a slightly warmer paradigm of Chardonnay, I'm going to go to 4 Mile Creek because they have older vines there. When people have that kind of knowledge, that's great. And then someday, of course, they're going to choose also their favorite producers. But if you're going over to Champagne, you go, honey, we're going to Champagne. And eventually, by the time you get there, you figure which houses you're going to visit. But Champagne...
Well, first you want to go to la Côte de Blanc, the Côte de Blanc, or you choose the area first, right?
Yeah, and then you check out who you're going to see. So I hope the same thing's going to happen to, BC and Ontario and Quebec and Nouvelle-Écosse, Nova Scotia, and But anyway, I'm thrilled with your beautiful concept of the calendrier de l'Avent, and I think the Advent calendar, and I think you're bringing lots of joy across Canada with this thing. I hope people are waiting for it every night, and that people who are watching tonight can remember, come back tomorrow night and see what surprise Carl and Mira have for you.
There was so much fun to put that together. You have no idea. I was I had a lot of fun. But I want to say, you can tell Corey Mio that personally, I want to thank him for the great fruit that he offered you. And thanks to you, this is a 93 plus points, Carl's Wine Club. This wine is fantastic. There's some reminiscence, a little bit of some Grimsby Hillside type of seashell minerality that I found in the same kind of property, but also a little bit of foxcroft dripping down into it as well. So I have so much fun tasting that wine. 93 plus point Carl's Wine Club. And there's what, 45 cases of that, 50 cases of that made. Very, very, very little quantity.
Very small. Well, listen, I wish you a joyeux Noël, joyeuse fête, happy Christmas.
Merci beaucoup. À toi, à Marie, à toute la famille, aux filles et à toute la famille. Joyeux Noël. Everett, like, thank you so much for your support this year, for all of the great experience that we've done together. Mira keeps asking me if it's a big vintage, maybe Thomas have an extra barrel that we can do a Carl's Wine Club Chardonnay. But
I think we
let's keep
come by here and taste. Yeah, come by and taste. We'll talk to the big bosses. Let them talk.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm planning to come to you
2 weeks in a row.
I need to come your way and come and spend some time and taste the barrels, because I know you're going to go back into the 23 barrels very soon after Christmas. So I beg my boss to get me a flight ticket so I can go spend a couple of days with you.
You're welcome anytime, man. When you come here, we'll taste. Okay?
Thank you.
We're just going to 4 days hard work, and then we head to Montreal.
And make sure you bring your gift with you in Montreal. You have a box waiting at home. Bring it with you, because there's a good Pinot. There's a good Pinot and a good Chardonnay in that box as well from BC. So I want you to taste that as well. And you got your shirt. Your shirt is in the box. Take care, man. I appreciate you a lot. I appreciate you.
Okay, me too, you guys. You guys are doing crazy good stuff.
Have
fun with your advent calendar, and I hope people realize how much fun you had putting it together. It's sure fun being here.
Take care. Love ya.
Joyeux Noël. Bye now, man.
Take care.
That is pretty spectacular, Carl Boucher. He truly is a rock star, Mike. You are so right. Oh my God.
Well, that was my afternoon. It's just a glimpse of it. I mean, like, it was an hour. The thing is, he had a hard time connecting his camera. And we were just chatting and just shooting shit between while Mary tried to fix the camera. And anyway, so it took an hour and something, and we had the back and forth and all that. So what a great afternoon spent. It's always good time with Thomas. I mean, you should have seen him and I walking the room at La Grande Dégustation in Montreal with 3,000 people. And yeah, always a good time. For people who are not sure, who have not heard about Thomas Batchelder before, he is the absolute rock star winemaker. Like, if you have to define Canada in one personality, you would like that one person to be the face of our Canadian wine industry. That's the one I pick. He's my first draft pick. He's my first round draft pick, and there's no one in front of him, to my opinion. He is one of the, if not the very most talented winemaker. And his personality, his knowledge, his vision. I mean, he works with 27 different sorts of grape, making over 35, close to 40 different wines now. That tells you. And every wines that he makes, he extracts the terroir out of each and every wine better than anybody else. So, I mean, yeah.
That's fascinating. It's fascinating. Oh, no, Marcel's not crying.
Marcel's in Germany right now. We don't have a clue what Marcel's doing right now, but he's sure. I'm sure he is having fun. I'm sure he's having fun. Yeah, I mean, what Bellaterra is doing at 60,000 cases is completely different than what Thomas is doing at 8,000 cases and counting. I think their concept is completely different, and both are really great in terms of what they do. But yeah, Thomas is an absolute, what a character. What a great conversation. Even if he cuts off, he was like, I'm surprised that we got that much connection. When he told me I'm going inside, I'm going to be in the Batcave, I'm like, oh no. Oh, shit. Because we know for being there multiple times, there's no freaking internet in there. I'm like, how the fuck are we going to do that interview? And it turns out pretty good.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow.
Worked.
That's the angels, baby. That's the angels right there. Right there. So now I want to know, what do you think of that Chardonnay? What do you think of that meal? If you're listening, you're now for people who are tuning in, give me your feedback, because when I tasted that, and that's what I said to him, and it's my tasting note that is going to be published tomorrow morning, 93 plus point. But to me, there's a little bit of Grimsby hillside minerality type, a little bit richness of Foxcroft, and it's kind of literal because Foxcroft is at the top of the Beamsville bench, and the Mio Vineyard is right at the bottom of the escarpment. So it's kind of Foxcroft dripping down into Mio. So yeah, I mean, this is an absolute beauty. Mira, what do you think of that wine?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I love all of Thomas Batchelor's wines, right? Like, I've never tasted one that I didn't love. So you know it's going to be a good night if you're opening a Batchelor wine, or a good brunch or lunch or whatever it is you're doing. Oh, I'm sad so clearly it doesn't suck. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so...
Oh, that's so nice, Jeff. That's so nice.
So, I mean, I
love that.
We're ordering more, so there's going to be more coming our way. So if you guys want to put a few aside, if you guys want to order a 6-pack of that or whatever, let us know. Yeah. Because this wine, to be honest, there's 48 cases. Thomas is not going to have that wine past like in the month from now. He told me offline, say, Carl, if your people want some of that, I mean, this is going to be gone.
Yeah. So speaking of that, okay, the other one that is gone. So there's going to be 3 tasting notes up here shortly, from the last 2 days plus tonight. The GSM stumped us a little bit because I think it's completely sold out at the winery. So we're just trying to clarify how many bottles exactly we still have. I know for sure we have 14 bottles of that GSM. Anyway,
I can get a case. I can get one more case, I believe.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, very little left of that GSM, because I know people are asking, hey, that tasting note is not up. We can't buy it on the website. And I'm like, I know, we got to clarify that, and the pricing, because it's nowhere right now. And then the Trail Estate will be up, as well as this Mio, in the next hour or so. How about I send an email as soon as all 3 are up?
That's a good idea. As for the GSM, it's $40. And I'm sure that I can get a due to our relationship with Mark Hopley, the Pan-Canadian connection, and the estate manager with Roger, I'm sure that I can pull a case out of it. So $40. So yeah. So here with Mio, let's make sure that we pull everything we can pull out of Thomas, like before. Yeah,
that's right.
Before everything is gone.
So if you're thinking of any of these ones that we've tasted the last few days, send us a note to say, yes, I'd like to have 1 of those, or 3 of those, or 6 of those. We'll make sure that whoever kind of pre-reserves them gets them first, because if we open this up to the rest of the club, like we will at the end of the 12 days, we want to make sure those of you that have been following this and tasting the wines get yours before some of these for sure will sell out, because there's such limited amounts, right? So yeah, so much fun. And it's great to have a couple new VIP Unlimited members in the group. I wanted to say that the VIP Unlimited membership, all you founding members, thank you so much for all your patience. It's been quite a project. We started, a year ago, this time last year with that.
No,
And
much, babe. It's been
2 years ago?
18 months. 18, well, more than that, 17 months now.
2 years maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had a lot of technology issues, which are now sorted out. And in 2025, baby, that's our 5-year anniversary as a club. That's where we really want to take that to the next level. So we really want your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas on how to make that kick ass, like amazing, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. I just want to say that December 28th, our Red Blend Marathon, I just did the few pickups today. We had a crazy donation, eh? Look at that, Mira. Like, show that.
So, you know how we're saying the 2020 Oculus from Mission Hill just became the first Canadian red to get 100 points from a critic, right? John Schreiner gave it 100 points. Well, the viticulturist who used to do all the Oculus, like he was in charge of all of this, is Graham O'Rourke. He's now got his own winery, Tightrope.
So I stop at I stop at Tightrope because Graham reached out to me and say, hey, I love that Red Blend Marathon. I would like to give you a couple wines. So he gave me his Vertigo. So Vertigo is a blend of Barbera. He's one of the only ones to grow Barbera here in BC. So 50% Barbera, 35% Cap Franc, 15% Merlot. So I'm like, oh, this is really cool. So he got me that, and he said also I make 100 case only in exceptional vintage of a wine that I call the Equipoise. And I'm like, oh, what is that? So it's a 40% Syrah with 40% Cap Franc and 20% Merlot. So I'm like, wow. So I got these two blends. And he said, by the way, I would like to do a donation for your tasting. And Mira, there is
yeah, so this is sorry, there's a side conversation about butter tarts. So look at the vintage. So we'll taste the 2009 with the 2020. How cool is that?
Yeah, so Grandma was the viticulturist in charge at Mission Hill these years. So yeah, he's like, oh, I had a 2009 in my cellar. I just thought I can give that to you for your tasting to taste side by side with the 2020. I was like, holy screaming. So that is pretty cool.
Oh, Louise, that's so nice. Yeah, I'm glad we found you too. That is awesome. So glad.
So yeah, so we have
Louise has her wine group over, so you have to let your wine friends know. Let the others know. It's free to join, right? It's kind of fun.
Yeah, but that's the beauty, right? And we love Chardonnay.
Yeah, that's right. And Daryl, I mean, Scotch, bourbon, I don't know. You'd have to get me into this stuff. You know what? I tasted for the first time. What was it that I tasted at Okanagan Crush Pad the other day, Carl? That very strong thing. I didn't know if I'd be able to walk out of the place.
Oh, not the pastis, but the shoot, I have a blank.
Green absinthe.
The absinthe. Thank you. The absinthe. Yeah. Oh man, that was funny. You should have seen your face. Holy crap.
Yeah, I had a little sip, and he's like, "Well, normally you pour it over this sugar and like put water in it," and I just like took a little swig of it. Woo, woo, woo. That was something else, but it tastes really interesting. It's like black licorice absinthe. It's the only winery I think in BC that makes absinthe.
Yeah, they made 7 cases of it.
Yeah, it was actually really good. Once you put it over this like sifter thing with a little cube of sugar that says absinthe on it, and it's green, and it's quite the experience. And then you pour water, and then it doesn't taste like 60% alcohol.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man, that I love that Mio wine. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. But Daryl, it could be like the Butter Tart Club, or it could be the Cheese Club. I mean, I love cheese. Vicky loves cheese. It could be like the Mira Vicky Cheese Club to go with the, Anyway, some cool things coming up. It's so great to see you guys, everybody. We're doing $30 coupon tonight. So off your next purchase. And did Mira start writing like Poe after the absinthe? Yeah. You can see some of the emails post absinthe that we've been sending.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Edgar Allan Poe, Mira Boucher. Yeah, the Raven.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely. Well. So the wine wall is up with red. Whoops.
we
With
can't
red
hear you.
balloons,
Your phone's
and the
ringing.
date is approaching. So now we are. Oh, sorry, Mira. My phone. I had a phone call, so I couldn't hear what you were saying. Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just saying we can't hear you when your phone's ringing.
I know. That's why I had to stop it. So another
What were you
stupid.
saying?
I was just saying that that was day number 7. So we're 7 nights in, 7 wines. Let's quickly recap. Okay. Day number 1, we had traditional method sparkling from Nova Scotia in Gaspereau Valley, Benjamin Bridge Reserve Non-Vintage Brut. Day 2, we have Malivoire Courtenay Vineyard Gamay from the Beamsville Bench, a single block vinified individually since 2002. Very special Gamay. Day number 3, we had Tantalus Old Vines Riesling 2021. The oldest Riesling vines in British Columbia in that old block. Incredible, deep, and concentrated Riesling. Fantastic. Day 4, we had from Lake Erie North Shore, Mouchadre Vineyard Syrah. Day number 5, we went to the Golden Mile Bench in the Okanagan for a rare GSM from Hester Creek Winery. Day number 6, we went from the Golden Miles all the way to Prince Edward County in Ontario with Trail Estate Vineyard and their Pinot Noir. From Prince Edward County back to the Beamsville Bench with Thomas Batchelder on day number 7. It's the only time that it's not from the Beamsville Bench, it's Lincoln Lakeshore, so right below the Beamsville Bench. The only time that we do 2 regional appellation the same, because Thomas is Thomas, and we included that wine in the Advent calendar because it's Thomas. So 7 nights so far out of 12. Tomorrow, we are going to British Columbia. And in the end, it's not the Okanagan. There you go. So that's my hands for tomorrow. We're going to British.
What kind of food? What kind of food for tomorrow?
Big food, big red. Big steak.
Okay, tomorrow. Red.
Tomorrow.
Big steak. I don't even know. I can't keep track of all this stuff, Carl.
I had it drilled in my head. I'm
trying to see which one it is. I don't even remember. Oh,
don't worry about that. It's BC. It's BC, but it's not the Okanagan.
Okay.
So.
I know which one. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. I'm excited. It's going to be pre-recorded. I recorded the interview today. So yeah, I can't wait.
Cool.
Super cool conversation from a really, really, really cool winery. So tomorrow, day 8, and I have to pick up more red blend samples. So if you're planning your holiday season, put in your schedule December 28th to spend 5 or 6 hours with Carl and Mira. We're going to do our Red Blend Marathon. So
very cool. Okay, here we go. This is for $30 off. Here we go. Bam, bam. I think I got everybody. Ho. Karen, congratulations. There you go. So Dean, Karen, you guys are on. $30. I'll email it to you right after the show. Little terracotta funnels that fit upside down wine bottling for watering there. It's scattered throughout the garden. Oh my gosh, it looks like you're growing wine. I love that. I'm going to tell my massive garden. This will be a thing, Karen. This will be a thing. I love it. Well, congrats, Karen. Yeah, $30 off your next purchase. And you can combine it, by the way, with the 20 or 30 you've gotten when you got the, well, we said it would be for January, but I'm going to send it up very soon for the people that bought the advent calendar as well. Oh, that's a very good guess, Rob. We'll see.
Now, I do Talus from Courcelette. I have a bottle of Talus that we're going to open for the Red Blend Marathon. I was just there yesterday talking with Jesse and Charlie.
There you go. Well, that's interesting. So, yeah, so it's not Talus from Courcelette, but you are getting very close, very close. Okay, I love it. Congrats, Karen and Dean, on that little win there. And I hope you guys have a fabulous evening. We'll see you very soon, tomorrow night.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, see you tomorrow night.